Hey guys, Ben here from Second Dynasty, doing some painting today. Don't know that that's so interesting for you guys, so I should probably put the brush down in just a second. I just gotta finish up what I'm doing. I really don't do a great job with painting, but I want to have something more colorful for the end of the campaign, which of course ends on Monday night. Monday day for you guys in the US. Let's see. Oh. So I'm really just putting on some base coats at the moment, getting the color on. I was doing a video earlier in the day, and it went well the first time, but I was using a different version of OBS, and because of that, it recorded without my voice. So I had to redo it. I've just rendered it. It's not uploaded yet, but basically it was a tour of the Mark IV. Let's switch to the main scene. I'll put aside my painting materials, and we will get started. So yeah, today is a bit of a lazy day. I'm the only one at the office aside from Hannes, who's chilling in the break room. So there's not much going on at work. It's quite quiet. It's been a peaceful day of just listening to stuff and painting. Today I don't have a huge amount of plans. There's a couple of things I was thinking I could do. One is that we have the poll that's currently going on. I've got to try and find it. Let's see, forms. Here we go, shuttle stretch goals. So there's a clear winner at the moment because we've had 134 responses. It was a tight race, but the fixed wings with hard points is the winning stretch goal by the looks of things. So I may start working on some concept for that. I don't really know how it's going to look at the moment. I haven't really thought about what kind of wing it would be, what's going to suit this airframe. But I think it would be more of a conventional wing, and essentially we'll be reusing this hard point to create some kind of tailored kind of wing that we can then add more weapons to. I've been doing a lot of work the last couple of days getting the Mark III going, and that in itself could be something exciting to show off. I did also print John's alternative. Let's look at that. So John, let's switch back to the close-up. John made a new version of the shuttle. This is really tight. I don't know if I printed it with the wrong settings or something, but oh Jesus. So yeah, the version here of the front of the shuttle where the shield generator or whatever you want to call this thing is actually its own piece. It does do a lot for the seams, but it's so tight at present. There's actually absolutely no tolerance, so I'm going to have to go back in and change that. As you could see, the seams look better, but you can see the gap there, so that definitely needs to change. And then where did I put... Oh, it's over here. Excuse me for a second. We have the Mark III rear. Now this is a bit too loose at the moment, but the concept is there. You can see that we have a new version of the pegs. I haven't done any cleanup on these models, by the way, so there is a tiny bit of supports needed. But we've added back in also, if I take this off, the top part, right, actually splits in a similar manner to John's concept. It's just we push down instead. I just broke a piece off, I realized. So that sort of like fits in under here to get that line right. So that was the proof of concept anyway. Oh no, I didn't break it. Did I? Just a little. But underneath, this is just not doing anything more than connecting the piece in. But we also have a built-in light kit. So much the same way, these engines come off. You can put in some lighting both up the top and on the, I guess what I've been calling the VTOL engines. Technically, I guess they're just gimbaled engines. Let's connect that back up. All right, so it's a little bit more seam based. These two parts print out support free. The bottom part, less so. You just open this up and you can pull out, you know, the I guess the rotation thing. This is built to go into any standard turret port, so you can stick a turret in there if you'd rather. The back parts do come off. The only parts where I've needed supports, and you can see particularly here that it's not cleaned up, is the actual curve here. So obviously that prints out in two pieces. There are some overhangs in there that that on the back piece you just can't orient it in a way in which supports are no longer needed. I tried, I struggled a long time to figure out especially the stuff in here. It was a nightmare, but it's done. There are more parts that need consideration, but I feel that the end result will be much more modular and customizable. And of course, the ability to add lighting. You know, if Zorima wants to do some lighting kits, it's already supported from day one. I've just used the coin cells. I haven't tested them yet because I don't have enough batteries hanging around. But yeah, that's it took a lot of energy. So we only have until Monday left, which is just shy of, I guess, 4 or 5 days, somewhere in that range. The campaign has gone okay. I can scroll up here and we can refresh it. We just hit the 12,500 mark yesterday. And I guess if I just go to the actual project page, that would be better. So we're doing quite well. It says 4 days, but you know, we've got until Monday. It's a bit longer than that. Not bad. We just hit 13,000. Our next goal, I think, is at 15.5. And we did say in the last update that the community got to choose. Let's see. Here is the update. So we sent out this survey to get ideas. And the idea being that you choose from one of the 5 we've previously suggested on the Discord. And then there were some requests to compare the interior of the Mark III and the Mark IV. I need to update the page so that people understand that they're getting the base Mark III as a part of this for free. And yeah, it's all going in a decent direction. I am kicking myself because once again, for some insane reason, despite the fact that it didn't go well last time, I have set the finishing to be on a Monday, which means that the final send-outs go out on a Saturday night, which usually means we don't get in as much funding, which is a shame. But we are having a meeting today with my manufacturer, and the goal of that will be to actually, instead of having a post-campaign straight away, we're talking about having a frontier for like a week where we can continue to fund stretch goals just a little bit longer. So that hopefully could be interesting. Let's see. If all goes well, I should finish printing my Type S on Monday. Wow, awesome. Epic. We should tell our friends and blow up chat on Kickstarter. That would help considerably. But, you know, I have had a couple of comments where, you know, economically things are not as good as they used to be at the moment. And even if it's like under $25 for the upgrade, and we look, 382 backers, nothing to sniff at, but it's, you know, it's a fraction of what we have done in our past campaigns on Kickstarter. And it's getting progressively less. And what I was hoping with this is that, you know, with the low entry point, we could maybe attract in a lot of new backers. The idea being to get them onto MMF. But, you know, I obviously haven't put the time in for the campaign to show off the product properly. I haven't done marketing the way that I normally would have done. So there is that. But, and it was only ever meant to be a mini campaign. It'll keep us going for a bit. But at this point in time, I don't think there'll be any update of the beta or delta with this kind of response. I may change my mind if we put it on Frontiers for a week and there's like a bunch of new backers and, you know, the numbers essentially double. But I don't think they will. So that's that part of things. But yeah, this is the issue. Ciosada. I don't know how to pronounce that, to be honest. The issue is the goal of this was to keep us going so we could get the Beowulf finished. I don't want too many stretch goals because that also is going to keep me from doing the Beowulf, and I'm supposed to have some time off. And at this point, I am creatively exhausted and could use some time off. It is nice right now while everyone is off at the moment, Albin, John, and Liselot, which means that at least at the office when I sit and work, there's no interruptions, which is good. But yeah, it's a concern. I kind of feel like it would have been better to just work on the Beowulf. The number response on Kickstarter, what really worries me at the moment is the fact that if the numbers are down as much as they are, the Beowulf is probably likely to be the last licensed traveler product we're going to do. Because I can't keep making ships that take 6 months to make. We won't survive as a business that way. So we'll probably focus on some smaller ships more often. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So of the Mark III now, there's a couple of things I need to change. I think what I might do is take John's concept here and just make it actually be, you know, fit properly. Sorry, John, but there you can see here that there actually is a little bit of the meshes aren't quite, there's no gap in between them. So it's usually just a simple, whoops. So I'm going to start with that because I'd like to use this style on the Mark III. I think it's the best one going forward. There's going to be so much more reprinting anyway. So really the only thing we need to do for this to work is to change some of the dimensions. And we're going to do that, I think the easiest way, I have a sneaking suspicion he may have used some Boolean operations here. The easiest way is to just grab like all of these side pieces. Actually, we might even grab, whoops. Let's see, what's going to be the easiest here? I'm just grabbing a couple of these polygons. And I want to grab like the ones on the interior here because we're going to start with this. Let's see. I don't feel like I'm incredibly coherent today. So we'll see how long we run. Like I said, I still have a meeting. It is a bit hot in here, which could be a part of the explanation. So the real challenge here is going to be getting things to line up correctly. And honestly, it is kind of hard to choose exactly where we want to change things. So I think we're just going to widen it for now. So, okay, God, there's some horrible geometry in there. John, look, he's on holidays. So we need to open a gap about that wide. But let's have a look at this mesh again and see what's going on. So there is a couple of, I'm guessing that these are left over from Boolean operations. So to clean up the mesh, we're going to do some welding. It's not ideal, but it will do. It looks kind of like there's a lot of noise in the image. I wonder if that's because of the lighting. We don't need the lighting on anyway. So yeah, I'm just merging some of these polygons that don't need to be separate, like all of this mess. That's one of the reasons why we try to avoid booleans. Wait, what's going on there? Because it does create a mess usually. There's like hidden polygons. The geometry doesn't all match up. It's a mess. There's a reason why we try to avoid using them. And that's almost entirely due to the cleanup operation. Usually, yes, booleans will be quicker, but you'll spend so much more time cleaning it up that sometimes it's better to just make your own cuts. So that's looking a bit cleaner now. We need to fix this other side too. So, and again, we're just following. Occasionally, I'll delete history. Go back to vertex mode because it'll just react a bit quicker. I want something to be a little bit similar there. So let's go there. Go there. My savings. So it'll take a second. Let's see. I think that the stretch goals that we got are very good. That's awesome to hear. Hiding seam lines is always good. Delete those faces and duplicate them from the other piece. Doesn't have good quads. It's so messy, my apologies. Well, it was a proof of concept, John. And it's not bad as a concept. It's just I would do it a different way. And we need to add some tolerances because even the best printer, you're never going to get something that's completely flush. And, it doesn't hurt us to have a little gap in here. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take 10% of this and create a line across there. What I'm going to do is delete these polygons here. And then we're just going to take all of this. Yeah, that's happening because there's more stuff going on. And to be fair, the mesh I had was not perfect either. There was like several different objects. So maybe we'll just try a merge and see if that helps. What happens if I do this now? Nope, it still doesn't like it. Okay, that's a bit better. So if we go, no, that doesn't like it either. All right, whatever. We're just gonna grab these polygons manually. John, what are you doing here when it's your day off? Your week's off. Week off. Well, I can't remember how much time you're supposed to be off, but I feel like you've worked like 5 hours this week. I'm supposed to be dropping this down, but it feels like it went up. Why? Have I got some other hidden polygon? Yes, I do. This is not a good thing to do. I don't know what that is or why we have it selected, but I suspect it came when this went all the way up there. One trick we can do is press 3 to smooth. And yeah, there was a hidden polygon in there that we haven't got cleaned up. And there's another one there that we're missing. Some of these don't need selecting because Oops. Because as long as we select the adjacent polygons, it's going to move down to where we want it to go anyway. So I'm going to drop that down there. We're going to delete these ones. I'm just going to quickly, I think I'll weld these over there. Because that'll just guarantee that we don't have as much crap there. And we'll leave it at that. So we're just going to recreate some of this geometry with a bridge. Bridge there, bridge here. For anyone that is new, I've had some YouTube tips from some experts lately, and they do say I should be explaining more, as if like there are people jumping in that have no idea what we're doing. So we're 3D modeling in Maya, which is a 3D graphics program. But the purpose is to create items that we're going to 3D print. So if I now compare this part and this part, there should be a slight gap between where these parts are meeting, but it still feels like there's something off here. I can see here from the mesh view that there's a good gap here, so now we're going to have to focus on these parts. So again, we want to create a bit more of a gap. So I think it's best to have this be, the status quo piece. Let's see. One of the first things I did was split this mesh and mirrored it. All right. Yeah, I noticed that, John. The only problem with that is that the mesh is not it's not a mirrored mesh. It's actually asymmetric. There's only one sensor over here. So that was one of the first things I fixed. I like it that John enjoys doing this on his time off. And this really is kind of like probably not the best thing, right? So this is a bit more of a challenge. The reason being that we're at an angle here. How are we going to do this? This definitely is more of a challenge. So what I'm wondering if we can possibly do is the edges here, that's relatively simple. There's a couple of approaches we could take. All of them are a bit messy, but I'm going to try selecting along here first, see what we get. And what I'm actually going to do then is just create an extrude. Now I need my GUI back on with the HUD. And I'm just going to offset it by 0.02. So that's essentially 0.2 millimeters. No, 0.2 millimeters. Or is it? I don't know. The idea is it's very small. Actually, that's too small. Let's go for 0.05. Okay, so it's small enough that we can see it. This isn't the best example because we are actually getting some issues here. This is Maya is struggling with the math, and we're not seeing straight lines here as we would like to see. Like if we turn off the divisions, you can kind of see that this is all looking much more sensible geometrically. But my idea is that we're getting... wait, why would we do it that way? Yeah, because we want to go on this inside. I'm pointing at the screen. You guys can't see that. Is it possible to pull the mesh for the asymmetric sensor off the main mesh? Yes, it is possible to do that. That is one way to do it. There are many ways to skin a cat, as they say. So really what I'm looking for is a way to move this forward a little bit and out a little bit. So I think actually what I'm looking to do is more like with these edges. So there's a lot of triangles here, which is unfortunate. because it is not going to give us a great result. It might be all over the place, it might not be worth doing, but there is a slight chance that we get something that's reasonable, that we can live with. I did say slight. Ugh. Should have opened the window before we started. And there, and there, and there. Let's do that for now. So I'm going to do another extrusion, and we're just going to go and look at the offset of 0.05 to create this line, right? And technically, we can start deleting, like, if we say move this back so it's actually in parallel to that line. We're going to have to do this by eye a little bit. This is all I'm capable of doing at the moment in my current mental state, so there are definitely other solutions we could use. But the idea now is to get rid of this line, and technically, if we delete that, it's moved forward, right? And then we will need to go back and get rid of like these lines again. They're not needed. And there'll be some patching up we need to do with some welding. And here we might actually mirror this when we're finished, but what I'll probably do is duplicate the mesh, cut out just a bit here that I want, and then continue on, or if there's like a natural part of where we can cut it. Let's see. I wonder what would happen if you used the move along individual normal. I would like to add that area was not Boolean but had to be hand done. It's still messy. I probably should have checked. I had less issues with that part. It was mostly with the piece in the middle, so I think this will greatly improve the issue that we were having. But technically, if we just take this and dip it down now just a tad, that should work. We can do some more cleanup later, so let's just test that, because this is a nice angle which lets us just select everything. And in this case, all I'm going to do to check the height difference is Control-Z, Control-Y, just to see. We isolate these two parts again, and we're just trying to see what it looks like. And it does look, I can see what you mean by the manual side of things. It does look now like there is a gap, although not on this side, so we probably need to work on this side as well. And with this we want to go in instead, right? So what I might do is, again, we're going to Boolean. Sorry, not Boolean. We're going to use the extrusion trick. Only this time, we're not going to do any offset or anything. What we're actually going to do is just an extrusion. And then we're going to hit W for the move key, and we're just going to move it manually just a tiny bit, like so. It does create issues over here where we've got this, issue. But again, we just are going to recreate this. Well, fix the geometry rather, using, let's get into vertex mode and go into weld. So we're going to weld these back. And when I'm finished with this, I'll probably change the angon and triangulate it or quadrangulate it. I'm not sure which yet. I do have a bit of a sore throat at the moment, so there is that. I think we'll leave that in place, but the question is if there's a gap there or not. It's also here. See, that is way too tight, so I'd actually be tempted to push all of this in just a tad. So I'm only going to change one side, but I'm just going to push it down a tiny bit. Now, this does leave a bit more of a gap, but we can manually control that just a tiny bit. I don't think this will be too noticeable. It is a bit ugly, that joint. Not like it wasn't ugly to begin with. And you can kind of see like it's been cut poorly. But this is like one of the compromises you make when you're visiting old geometry. It's like, yeah, I would have done it better if I'd have started from scratch today. But we were working with older stuff. Alright. So, let's see. Then we're just going to merge these back again. The weld tool. Oh, seems like we need to do a delete history to make this go a bit quicker. And then we'll be at a respectable place. Can probably change some of this geometry too. It's a bit overkill for what we need it for. We're not really concerned about quads and n-gons and that sort of thing at the moment. This big n-gon, like I've said in the past, this kind of thing is not an issue. It's when it's like, is it convex? Or it's sort of like goes inwards and it's like more like banana shaped. It's there that slicers have issues interpreting it. So you could probably leave that n-gon. And by n-gon I mean this massive polygon which has more than 4 sides. Because when you use a slicer, which is the 3D program, to turn a 3D model into a 3D print, sometimes, depending on the slicer you're using, it will interpret these odd shapes in different ways. And if this had been, like this curve had been going inwards instead, it could be that it, you know, crosses some of the polygons when it's triangulating it in an unfavorable way. So let's see, we're going to, let's just check one last time that this looks like there's enough of a gap. So it should be flush here, which it is. We need to look at this corner. That looks like it's intersecting as well. Or does it? Let's see. I'm going to select this vertex. No, it's fine. Alright, that does look like it's going to work now. And I love the concept. We just needed to refine it a little bit. And that way I can claim ownership over John's work. So yeah. Let's duplicate this. Where is a logical place to cut? Probably here. Yeah. So when I duplicated, the main goal was to make a copy, I guess. So I'm just getting like a logical place to cut. Oh, there's an n-gon there. Not one that affects anything, but it's there. It does affect selection. At least in Maya. I don't know if your beloved Blender can do any better. It probably can. Maya and Blender being two very common 3D modeling programs. Maya being the sort of industry standard, if you like, for certain kinds of animation and modeling, mostly games and animation. And then, of course, Blender is the open source alternative, which is starting to be better. Wait, why did that not work? Right, so I think I have both meshes selected. So if I go back to Edge here and try my shortcut, hopefully I should be able to, damn it. Something wrong here. The cut didn't work. Well, that's annoying. You know what? We do have two different versions of this, so I'm going to get nasty and just delete the polygons that I don't want on this version. Is that right though? We want them to be approximately the same. Actually, it's a way further up that's easier yet. That'll be easy to do. Let's delete everything behind here. Grab these edges. I could have just mirrored the whole mesh, but why do anything easy? Oh crap, there's two meshes at once. Undo, 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 undo. Maya might crash now too. Nope. Alright, we're back to normal. Let's move these aside, shall we? And we'll just do this. Go right down the middle. Actually, it's probably better to use the front view. Why did that not work? Oh, it was isolated. So if we just delete this half, like so, we can potentially mirror that, and then I'll just keep this geometry here, which is what we're going to want on the other side when we want to get rid of that sensor again on the opposite side. So let's put this back into position. Oh no. Oh, we had not frozen the transformation, so technically I think this should put it into place. But we'll go ahead and do that right now. So that sets the translates to 0. Basically it's saying like we want, if you move these and you reset it to 0, it'll put it back in the place it's supposed to be, right? Let's see, I'm going to look at the chat. Excited to see you fix this, Blender is free, and that is the main thing going for it. So I refuse to pay for Maya pricing. Maya is unreasonably priced. Images of John just sashaying down the catwalk clad in printed ship parts. Mgon is not a modeling term. It is a space gremlin that consumes itself in the and Kickstarter backers as well. It's the reason the Type S had to run out to save the Beowulf. Yeah, that's ship posting, that is. Ngon, of course, it's actually, you know, polygon. Poly meaning many, and gon, I guess, is related to the shape or some shit. I don't know, my Greek isn't perfect. But the n is like a mathematical n, as in, like, replace n with the number of sides. So it could be any number of sides above 4. So, right, we're ready to mirror this. We do that in Maya by just reversing the scale, and then we freeze the transformations to make sure that we're not getting anything nasty. And now we basically want to grab the geometry that's under here to replace what we have above. Now, I don't think we need all of this. We just grab across there. We can delete that, and then we can look at the underside, what we might need, and I would say we only grab, let's see what's actually affected in the original model. Only really those. So if we grab this, we're gonna have to redo some of this anyway. So that's all we need from the bottom, and we have that on the top. So that's all we're keeping to get rid of that. And there is some nonsense that would have been better to solve, like technically these are supposed to be separate objects. I don't think they are. So we'll create some issues, but we'll just nab it. Alright, so now we just need to get rid of the unnecessary faces here. Let's grow that selection. There's probably some on the underside. Can't believe it's 340 already. So let's look again what we got here. So we don't need these. We don't need that. We do need to create a new face there. So let's just do that real quick. We're going to get this to snap. There we go. And now we're going to do something similar on the top side. I'm just going to isolate it by itself. Sometimes this is a nice little trick to do, is you select the polygons, isolate them, and you can see it's grabbed a whole bunch that we don't want with it. But if we then just select once more the polygons that we want to affect, we can re-isolate them again, delete. Wait, we don't want to delete all of those because we want these ones left. Let's just delete those, and we should be left with just what we want replaced, right? So mesh, combine, I'm going to merge the vertexes on this one, and then we're going to combine these again. Merged. So there we have it. We have a nice gap in there so that when we test print this tonight, big print, 16-hour print or so, tomorrow we should have a nice solution that can fit onto our Type S. Not Type S, Mark IV. Like I said, I'm in the process of painting it. I do have some nice shiny paints that I'm hoping will pick up nice. I've only done a couple of first layers and some base coats. I'm just going to do a quick and dirty. Tomorrow I'm stuck at home with the dog, so I figure if I get this at home, I can at least do the exterior, maybe take a felt tip pen to do some black line work. And you know, it will look, basically we want to get the campaign image here, another, wait a second, there we go. The campaign image here, we basically want to replace this non-painted version with a painted version, which hopefully will be more attractive for people coming back in that final 48 hours. We'll also do some more send-outs tonight to our previous campaigns. Yesterday I only did them to the, what was it, the Starship 2 and 3 campaigns, which actually did have the original shuttle in it, because I wanted to inform backers that the Mark III was getting a free update, which it is for them. So that is fixed now, although I suspect all that mesh work may have led to it not being included in the Mark IV group. Let's see what the scene looks like. Yeah, it's outside of that, so I'm just going to grab, let's see, there's so many, this is not an ideal outliner. I should be naming things and stuff. So this Mark IV base represents the base ship. You can kind of see that it is missing now. So what we can do is grab the mesh, Control Select and P, and that puts it into the same structure, the same hierarchy. So it's back in there again. I should probably be giving these names, but for the purposes of this session, it's not necessary. So there are some things we could do. We could, you know, take these parts and put it in the Mark III version, because the Mark III version is going to need that as well. But I suspect that's going to be a little bit boring. So for these last 15 minutes, I think we might just look at the basic shape of wings that we could implement. So I'm going to switch to a top view. At the moment, Maya's being Maya. So it ruins the orthographic views on occasion. So what I'm just going to do now is look at where we need to make this connection, right? Which is here. So I'm just going to have like a, I guess, an interface piece that I'm going to create. And I'm going to do that on the grid. So I'm going to switch to grid snap. Losing my voice, sorry. let's see. So I'm going to create a new object. I do have these all done as shortcuts. So this is the, is that the right tool? Yes. So we want the create polygon faces tool, and from top down with the grid on, I can see in here where the clip is. So I'm just going to create something that's in a similar spot, just like so. And let's just make it as deep as that. So we're just creating this really rough, ugly piece, and I'm going to extrude that just a bit to sort of like, if we temporarily move this out of the way, the idea would be that we want to cover that open lock port essentially. We're going to do more work than this in the end, and we'll have a piece that snaps in, and ideally this wing would print in two parts and be thick enough to actually do something with. So we know what our starting point is, and now we can, you know what, with this gun here, we might move it back and experiment on where would look reasonable if it had wings, right? Where you would want the gun position. So I would say somewhere here or somewhere further back maybe. But this will give us like, this will inform us about where is a reasonable spot to start making wings. So we're going to look in here again, and I'm just going to start building some random shapes to see what looks cool. So we can do a sort of Vigan effect, like something like this. All right, that's one wing type. We could potentially do something. I don't think we would do inverted wings. We could do just some straight struts though, like you guys can feel free to make some suggestions in the chat. Something that's straight like this, like a reverse wing, I guess. Something like that. We could have a shorter shape. And then we kind of can switch views here. Need to invert these and center the polygons. So we're just exploring wing shape, so we can kind of look at it to see. These assume straight wings too. We don't necessarily have to have them like this. We could also have like side fins or something. I don't know, something more like our Starfighters. In fact, why don't I just open up Maya on a separate one and we can look at our old ones. Gun needs to swivel mount if you do wings. And wings that are far too short. I think the primary purpose of our wings would actually be so that we can carry some missiles and get those guns further up, maybe have more armaments. So I don't think they're there for lift. I think they're there for arming. We do have some older starfighters we can draw some inspiration from. Let's see. I think Starship 5 was the last time we played with the Starfighter, so let's see. Starfighter modular system, there we go. Loading. There we go. That was the most recent shuttle version we had. Let's turn off that lighting. We do have our starfighter here, so we could do something similar to this on the end of the wing. We could actually take this wing and ditch the tail on it. It would probably actually look fairly decent, but yeah, we need some more shape than this, I feel. But like the concept there of having like these fin things might look alright. So what I might do is just copy these. Actually, no, I'm going to apply, assign Lambert 1. There it is, which is the default material in Maya. And we're just going to paste it in here. And what that does is it assigns Lambert 1, but in this case it's changed Lambert 1 for everything else because I think I had a filter on. Not a filter, I don't know the words. Words, Ben. Words. Let's see. It's grouped these. Where's the center point? There we go. So we could actually have a look and see what this looks like. We can get rid of this preview. So these wings actually are a lot larger than you would think. And in this case, I want to use, like, create an object that's going to sit snugly inside these two lines here so that it won't wiggle as much because we only have one clip point. And it's better to use existing geometry than have to make something new. But yeah, this is just a proof of concept sort of thing so that you could get, if we drop these downs, and we can ditch this gun. Oh no, it had its own... How does that work? Oh, okay, it's actually built into the gun. Alright, but in any case, you could... say you use those guns instead of the Gatlings or something like that. And we'll move these over. See, now that doesn't look too bad. What do you guys think? Needs more work than that, but the main thing that I would change is I would add some pylons underneath that you could have some, maybe like 1 or 2 missile racks with 3 missiles each. Let's see, what are people saying in the chat? We could add a canard wing, shorter but connected to the nose cockpit piece. There's nothing to attach it to at present. I want to do stuff that's going to be additive, and not require you to reprint half the ship. I say nice blocky chunky wings that are just anime missile pods. Yes, you would say that. For the swivel mount wings, go from hull horizontally, bend out 45 up, and then go horizontal again. On this last section, you put the cannon mount. It's hard to visualize that. Forward cannon with a gun mount on the cannon tip. I mean, yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Change the nose to have, like, essentially the guns out on a mini wing that sort of stick out down here, something like that. Right? So there's like a small cannon there, which would hold the guns out. Be kind of like a manta effect. Your food intake port is exhausting nonsense. I must be talking too much shit. I take it, John, you mean to say that my English isn't making sense at the moment, which probably is accurate. So what I would do is I would take this and I would repurpose parts of it, because I do kind of like the shape that this gives the shuttle, and we might even do your manta idea for the front of the ship. I don't know. So I would probably angle these slightly, and you would have like, where did I put these things? We can probably repurpose this. Let's just move that up there, this over here, that down there. Do something like this. We drop that down. Drop that down. This becomes something like that. Only integrated with the weapons. You meant something like that, right? And then if you guys imagine that the other wing is on the other side, I think we've got something interesting happening. Right. I'll do a mock-up of the cannon wing in a bit for the Discord. It was a while back. You got better, sir. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, in any case, I am feeling tired. I think we have something to begin with here. We need to add some missile pods with some options there. I do kind of feel like these fins will add a sort of retro feel to it. Of course, it's easy to do, but since this is integrated with the gun itself, we could make that optional, and I would probably just make the wing maybe slightly longer, although, like, again, if this is like half a profile, right? Hang on, let me zoom in. So that's half the ship, if you can imagine what it looks like mirrored. Hell, you can go asymmetrical. I'm kind of like digging this. Like, even from the side, it looks cool. It doesn't look too whack. And actually, if we turn on the winglets, let's turn on the well, I call them winglets, but I guess they're fins. I'd probably ditch the lower ones, but the upper ones could be alright. How's that look? That's interesting. I think with the winglets too, we could do versions of that with and without, because really it's just I'm not sure how they're gonna attach, but technically it's not hard to do, I don't think. So yeah, I never noticed that this is slightly lower. I like it. I even like the manta thing. Alright, it feels more Wars of the Stars. Well, on that note, let's just turn the lighting on and see if it looks more dramatic that way. Actually, you know what? Let's just create a group with this real quick. I'm going to get rid of the right side here. I'm going to just assume that anything here that's over on that side is not supposed to be kept. Is that it? That side, that side, that side, that side, that side. All right. Okay, so my thinking here is just to get these all in a sort of group. I might just reset these to where they're supposed to be. Not because they're going to be there, but we'll duplicate this instead. And I'm just going to try and snap this, I think, to that edge. So this is not necessarily the way we're going. I just wanted to see what it's going to look like. And then we'll put this little poly surface into this group. And we'll increase that to there. And then the idea being that if we set the pivot point to be somewhere we know to be on the center line, so let's see all of these edges. So I'm just going to move the pivot point to here, and then we'll freeze the transformations in the group. We'll duplicate it, -1 there, freeze the transformations. We'll select all of these meshes, and wait, where all of that? Actually, we want all of this first, but not those. Why is that not letting me do that? Alright, we'll forget about that. We'll just add that. Let's isolate it. Actually, we want these. And we'll get the wireframe off. And we can remove these from viewing. They don't want to go because they're a part of a group, I don't think so. In any case, let's have a look, see what it looks like. From above, it looks kind of interesting. I feel like it has a retro feel now. I don't think the winglets are necessary. But I'm kind of digging this. And I worry that I just deleted those winglets. Oh, they're going to get replaced anyway. So yeah, we possibly have a winged version underway. Like I said, it needs some missiles underneath. I'll probably use this as a base to go off. And this is one of the ways that we can deliver a few more stretch goals by repurposing old geometry. Of course, we'll make it look nicer than it is at present. But that'll be it for today's session. It's now 4:01 p.m. here on a Thursday afternoon. It is time to go get ready for our meeting with my mini factory, see about that continuation on Frontiers. It might let us unlock 1 or 2 more stretch goals beyond this, community sourced, of course. And yeah, I'll see you guys maybe not next week, but I'd say Monday we'll probably stream for the end of the campaign. All right, guys.